Overseas, we have Saturday, March 15th, the United States launched a series of airstrikes targeting Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen. This was ordered by President Donald Trump as a response to Houthi attacks on the Red Sea shipping. So, the strikes focused on Houthi military infrastructure, including radar systems, air defenses, missiles and drone systems, and leadership bases in cities like Sana'a, Sada, Al-Bayada, Damar, and Haja.
Well done.
There. I'm not. This is my I'm not a Yemen guy, so I'm trying to brush up on Yemen. Really? But I think it's important to know this is serious military action. I think people kind of rightfully want to understand why are we doing this, especially when Trump ran on a non-war stance. But I think after looking into it, it makes sense, and I'll give you the Trump administration take on it. So before we get into that, who are the Houthis? I think this is important information. They're a Yemen rebel group.
Who's on first?
Who's on first? They're rooted in the country's Shia Muslim minority. They currently control most of northern Yemen. So right now, Iran supports them with all their weapons, training, and funding. Though the Houthis, they deny this, but it's all pretty obvious. We know what's going on here. Iranians are funding them. So in the Red Sea campaign since late 2023, the Houthis have attacked commercial shipping in the Red Sea, claiming solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. Amid the Israel-Hamas war, they've hit dozens of vessels with drones and missiles, disrupting global trade and prompting U.S. and allied military responses, such as this current strike. The Biden administration actually had hit back on them a few times, although not nearly the size or magnitude of this strike. But this is something we've been dealing with for a little while, for sure. And so a key point on this, and Trump watching the strikes was pretty funny. He was wearing a hat that he signed himself with the headphones on watching it. But I think watching Marco Rubio,
like he just got done golfing. I mean, I think it was literally golfing.
I think so. But Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, gave his response on why we're doing this.
Well, first of all, the problem here is that this is a very important shipping lane. And in the last year and a half, the last 18 months, the Houthis have struck or attacked 174 naval vessels of the United States, attacking the U.S. Navy directly 174 times. And 145 times they've attacked commercial shipping. So we basically have a band of pirates, with guided precision anti-ship weaponry, and exacting a toll system in one of the most important shipping lanes in the world. That's just not sustainable. We are not going to have these people controlling which ships can go through and which ones cannot. And so your question is, how long will this go on? It will go on until they no longer have the capability to do that.
Well, what does U.S. intelligence tell us at this point? Because the U.S. had been conducting strikes for some time, but has not stopped the Houthis. So what's going to be different right now? Do you have more fidelity in the intelligence that would make this more successful?
Well, those strikes were retaliation strikes. So they launched one missile, we hit the missile launcher, or we sent something to do it. This is not a message. This is not a one-off. This is an effort to deny them the ability to continue to constrict and control shipping. And it's just not going to happen. We're not going to have these guys, these people with weapons able to tell us where our ships can go, where the ships of all the world can go, by the way. It's not just the U.S. We're doing the world a favor. Yeah. We're doing the entire world a favor by getting rid of these guys and their ability to strike global shipping. That's the mission here, and it will continue until that's carried out. That never happened before. The Biden administration didn't do that. All the Biden administration would do is they would respond to an attack. These guys would launch one rocket, we'd hit the rocket launcher. That's it. This is an effort to take away their ability to control global shipping in that part of the world. That's just not going to happen anymore.
Now, hold on real quick.
Go for it.
Maggie Brennan wearing all green and Marco Rubio with that sky blue tie.
Hey.
I should almost say Marco O. Rubio. He gets it.
Everybody's Irish today. It's true.
So a little added context, this is the shipping route that they keep talking about. I went to go find a map here. Basically, the Red Sea route would be the north of Africa through the Red Sea, but because the Houthis
slightly shorter.
Through the Suez Canal, obviously there. Yeah.
Right. So for the podcast audience who's not seeing this visual, we have on YouTube. And if you want to come over to YouTube, it's a good time. Subscribe there. It's quite a difference. You have to go all the way through the south side of Africa, in between Madagascar, all the way to get around. So this is clearly a problem we've been dealing with for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, Trump should start calling himself like the Canal King, because like the Panama Canal, the digging of the Suez Canal transformed the global economic order. And what Trump is doing here, as with his strategy in Greenland, to protect the shipping lanes up there from the Russian antagonistic actions, obviously this is the most violent of our efforts. Fortunately, the Panama Canal, we were able through diplomacy to wrest that out of Chinese control. We're in the process of doing that. And now, but in the Red Sea, in the Suez Canal, Iran has been backing this violent piracy, essentially, on that whole lane and disrupting all of the global economic order. People are like, oh my gosh, Trump's tariffs are going to wreck the global economic order. Well, these strikes are going to go a long way towards healing the global economic order, because we can't have Iran, we can't have our enemies controlling these shipping lanes. So this is definitely part of peace through strength. And I love Rubio's distinction here between what we were looking at in Biden's strategy for the Red Sea, which is just like a little tit for tat, this sort of like, oh, we're all like equal here. This is like, no, the United States, we have the means to open this up. It's good for America. It's also good for the world, but primarily it's good for us to keep this open. And so we're going to do it. So again, like all of these charges that, oh my gosh, Trump was an isolationist, he's drawing us back onto the North American continent. I think this is an example of no, he's the conservative movement, where it is the populist movement, has room for these international actions when they benefit America first.
Josh, on the other side of that?
No, actually, the thing is, though, like most libertarians, like they want isolationism or whatever. They don't want intervention. And so that's one area where they tend to like Trump. But on this, some are, this is not authorized by the, the 9/11, after 9/11, the law that Congress authorized the use of force for was against people that are implicated in 9/11. And they said that these people from Yemeni, they're not great people, but they're not involved in that. So you can't really invoke that. But again, what does this get to? This harkens all the way back to 1801, baby. The first Barbary War. Thomas Jefferson, like the most libertarian president you had, right? And so these Muslim pirates were like demanding tribute from all these ships. And the United States is like, wait, tribute for what? Just to be, so we won't kill you? Yeah, we don't feel like paying that. And so Jefferson sends the boys over there to take out these pirates. In fact, it's immortalized in the U.S. Marine Corps hymn. Because if you remember, it says,
the shores of Tripoli.
That's right.
Yeah, that's so cool. Little historical.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli.
Interesting.
It's a great hymn.
And so, all these other larger powers, like, Spain was a big Navy power. Britain was a big Navy power. France, no small power them. But, they all kind of paid the tribute. And the Americans were like, the heck with this?
No.
And so our answer to Yemeni was the same as for the Barbary pirates. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Except weren't we shooting missiles off the Truman? I mean, we have a warship over there right now in the Red Sea.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, we have warships in the
No, I'm just saying, like, so it's interesting.
Arab countries? What a shock.
I'm sitting there this whole time.
So I know some people in the Navy, and so interesting context to all this. First, I got to show this picture of Trump. It's just the most on-brand Trump picture ever. Fresh off the golf course. He's just like, watch
the polo.
I have the back nine, right? Yeah.
Oh, he's got the Trump-branded polo. He's got the MAGA hat signed by himself. Watching these airstrikes is just like Call of Duty. And look, I'm a peace guy. I'm not a big war guy, as many of you probably know on this program. But I've talked to some guys in the Navy about what we deal with in that Red Sea region. And a lot of people like to think of the Houthis as just kind of, to use a slur, probably like sand people. Like that's a kind of a common slur. Like these people aren't organized. They don't really know what they're doing. We could really destroy them. And I think accurately, as Marco Rubio brought up, like these people are very resilient. We've struck them before, and it hasn't stopped them. They continue to commit these acts of piracy, and they've been shooting at U.S. Navy warships. Now, the gall to shoot at a U.S. Navy warship, knowing what that is insane. Right. And to me,
that needs to stop.
And based on the previous administration's foreign policy or lack thereof, it was just kind of deal with this in small batches. We can't do much. Yeah, we can. And Trump's decided to do this. So I would say, please stop shooting at U.S. naval warships where we go. And this won't be a huge problem. As Secretary of State Marco Rubio said, we're going to finish this problem. Like, this is not going to be a problem anymore for us or the world. It's crazy. We've just kind of allowed this to happen. I assume that's under presumption of we don't want to start a broader conflict with Iran, but then stop denying that you're getting funded by Iran if that's the problem. There's clearly a connection here. If you're saying you're not, you're saying you are, whatever. like, I just don't love the idea of pirates shooting at us or our boys. So